Hi, it's Rachel. I'm here to discuss the 2-hour finale of Naomi. Sorry for the delay in getting this out. I was hoping to upload it by Sunday morning, but even though in the previous review I did of episode 11, I mentioned that I thought cancellation was likely, but hearing that confirmed on Thursday really bummed me out, and so I needed some time to process and get my thoughts together and just kind of like wallow in that feeling because I'm really bummed. I really wish we'd been able to see more of this. But yeah, so let's discuss the last 2 episodes. So not a ton was going on in episode 12. We had Lourdes and Anthony team up, which I loved seeing that. They're such a wholesome duo. And given Anthony seems to be the most adventurous of the group, when it comes to investigating, I'm not surprised that he and Lourdes stumbled on Naomi's birth rock. And it was so perfect that Dee and Zubato came to the rescue. And I loved it. And then when the four of them went back to Dee's shop, and Dee and Zubato were like kind of trying to be vague, but give them answers because they obviously knew something was up after that display. And they had the realization that Naomi's an alien. That was so exciting. Like, all I've wanted, literally the whole season, was for Naomi's entire friend group to know that she's an alien. And like I said with the previous episode, especially since Nathan now knows, I wanted Anthony and Lourdes to find out. And so I love that they did. I was so happy. So while that was happening, Naomi went on kind of a scavenger hunt to try to find a way to stop Brutus. I love that Annabelle accompanied her on this little road trip, even if that was kind of expected, given Annabelle really does accompany Naomi into practically every dangerous situation, regardless of whether Naomi wants her to join her in that. And I don't know why it surprised me, but at the end of the episode when Naomi was able to talk to, I don't want to call it holograms, because I feel like that's not exactly what it was, but she was able to talk to some version of her parents. I don't know why that surprised me, because I'm pretty into Superman media, and I feel like a lot of times we'll see Clark talking to some kind of version of Jor-El in most Superman media. So I don't know why it surprised me, but it really did. I was shocked that she was able to have that conversation with them. But I'm so glad she did. So then, during that conversation, her parents mentioned that someone had betrayed them. And I didn't expect to receive an answer to that. I assumed that would be something we may never learn, given it seemed like our only options were Zumbato or Akira. And I mean, I knew it couldn't be Zumbato, given how much he'd been doing to try to protect her, even if it wasn't always the best method. And given how defensive Akira's become of Naomi within the past, 2 episodes, 3 episodes, I would have been very shocked if she had been the one to betray them. But let's put a pin in that little thread so I don't rant for 20 minutes. Also to go along with the way things develop for the finale, so yeah, let's put a pin in that. But then when Naomi gets back home from this scavenger hunt, she tells Greg and Jennifer about what her bio parents had told her. And so Greg and Jennifer decide they need to leave town ASAP, and they discourage Naomi from saying goodbye to anyone. So as they try to leave that night, unsurprisingly, one of Brutus's men stops them. And so when Naomi's kind of panicking because her parents get grabbed, she's like, oh, I should go to Dee. But then we find out Dee has also been grabbed, and so has Zumbato, and so has Akira. So I love that Naomi then goes to her friends, and she's like willing to talk about all of this alien stuff with them. And she's willing to use their help when it comes to gathering info. And I love that they were adamant about wanting to help Naomi save all these adults in her life. these kids are just so brave and loyal, and they love Naomi so much, and it's so beautiful. I love it. And, like, obviously Naomi's like, no, I can't let you come with me, it's too dangerous. So, since Naomi had that reaction when they tried to go with her, did anybody else get whiplash with how he went from Naomi refusing to let them join her, and then, like, she's on the rescue mission and they're all there with her? Like, I guess the writers wanted some shock factor, but I'm perplexed as to how we went from Naomi being adamantly against it and using her super speed to leave Dee's shop. And then, like, the next thing we know, she's at the site where all the adults are being held. And they're with her. Like, I'm perplexed as to how they found the time to come up with a plan. But confusion aside, it was pretty cute to see them all working together. And it was kind of funny how, like, excited all these human teens were about fighting literal aliens. It's like no perception of the danger they're in. But yeah, so it was a little nerve-wracking, and I'm vaguely terrified for these kids every time they're going into these kind of situations. But it was cute. I like that they were so excited to, like, be doing this together. I just love this group of teens. But anyway, thanks to the help from the teens, from her friends, Naomi successfully rescues all her alien mentors. And so then she decides to go through the portal to fight Brutus to stop him from coming to this Earth. So before she can leave, Annabelle is trying to stop her because it's like, we don't know what's going to happen if you go through this portal. Brief aside, that scene was so well executed and very emotional. Naomi arrives on Earth 29, and Brutus gives a pretty typical villain speech. I don't know what to say, I found him kind of dull, if we're being completely honest. But after some attempts at manipulation and trying to weaken her, Naomi finds the power to fight back, and it was pretty satisfying to see how frightened he was when she blasted him. But obviously that's not enough to defeat him. And so before things can escalate too much, Zumbato and Akira come through the portal as well. And at this point I was pretty emotional just seeing, like, how many people care about Naomi and are invested in her safety. Especially with Zumbato and Akira, because, like, Zumbato has only had, like, maybe a couple months to, like, know her in this way, because he'd only been watching her from a distance up until, what was it, episode 7, when he was saving her at the lab. And then Akira, because she's only known her for probably a few weeks within the show. And I think I actually, like, had some tears forming when Akira sacrificed herself and was telling Zumbato to go back with Naomi and protect her. But I think Naomi's right that Akira might still be alive, because as Dee and Zumbato were alluding to, Brutus doesn't need Akira's powers, obviously. But Akira did mention she had built that portal device. So it's possible Brutus could be holding her captive to try to force her to create another method for him to reach Naomi's Earth. Also, the show's thesis is all about hope. So I feel like it'd almost be a slap in the face for Naomi to be like, don't trust your gut instinct that she's dead, if that was going to be the reality. But yeah, we didn't see her die, so I'm choosing to believe she's not dead and probably just being held captive, which probably isn't a great fate, given things we've heard about Brutus, but I'm choosing to believe Naomi will find a way to save her at some point. But then we have the scene that really did make me cry, and probably will make me cry every time I rewatch it, which was Dee and Naomi's goodbye. It felt like a very fitting way to wrap things up in case there wasn't a season 2, which RIP, but I'm just so sad about it. Like, okay, so being completely honest, I do tend to gravitate towards more romantic dynamics than platonic ones. So I was shocked by how deeply I loved Dee and Naomi's dynamic. But, like, the student mentor relationship they had was literally everything to me. And I love how intensely protective Dee is of her. I love the mutual care and concern for each other. And just, this conversation ended me. Like, Dee insisting that he can't leave Naomi, Naomi insisting that he deserved to be happy, and knowing that reuniting with Kuala would make him happy. And then Dee telling Naomi that he will always show up whenever she needs him. Like, I can't keep talking about them. I'm just gonna become too emotional and, like, start crying. I miss them so much already. Yeah, the cancellation's too raw right now for me to talk about them without crying. So, we're gonna move on to the end of the episode, to the moment that makes me want to angrily scream into a pillow for the next decade. So Naomi's with her parents, and they're about to bury some alien artifact, and when Naomi touches it, she sees a memory of Greg and Jennifer leaving her birth parents for dead and stealing her. I don't know what to say other than they are so evil, and I hate them so much. And I'm presuming this is the betrayal that her birth parents meant when they had that conversation with Naomi in episode 12. And it's just the nerve of Greg and Jennifer to have been lying endlessly about literally everything to Naomi. And then they were scolding Dee and Zumbato and Akira for, like, actually giving her information. And then, like, even when all 5 of them were captured, and they were like, we didn't want to tell anyone we were leaving because we don't know who this person was that betrayed our parents. Like, rage. Just burning rage. I do not give a shit about the reasons. I was frustrated enough with the reveal that they were aliens because it was shitty of them to not have disclosed that when they could see that Naomi was, like, struggling with telling them about the fact that she was an alien. And, like, they just had an obscene amount of opportunities to tell her and talk to her about it. But knowing how much Naomi loved them, I was wanting her to be able to repair that relationship. And I was willing to accept that they just had a horrendous error of judgment. And, like, they'd just be honest from then on. And the 3 of them could move past it. But no, they're horrible people. There is no acceptable excuse for them to be leaving Naomi's birth parents for dead just because they became attached to Naomi because they raised her for 16 years. That doesn't mean anything to me when they kidnapped her under some delusion of saving her. Like, I don't know what the writers want from me, because I refuse to find any positives in this. I refuse to let them be redeemed from this, because they're horrible people. Like, as much as I would like to see a season 2, I am terrified that something would happen with the writing where they would find a way to absolve Greg and Jennifer. And I don't know if I could stomach sitting through that. Like, Naomi has been so forgiving towards them when it was just, like, lie after lie after lie after lie after lie. And, like, there's also an interview, which, if I remember to look it up, I'll include a screen cap. But there's an interview that Casey did where she was talking about how Greg and Jennifer literally painted Zubato as a threat to Naomi to make sure she stayed away from him because they didn't want her to be around people who could give her answers. Like, it's despicable, everything that they did to try to bury the secret. And I just never will forgive them. But yeah, I could literally scream about my fury towards the McDuffies for days. But I would like to end this on a note that isn't me screaming about them. So, I'm so glad that Naomi stood her ground And the last thing she says to her parents is, "Stay away from me." It broke my heart to see her look so unsure and lost. I'm presuming after this she pretty much immediately went to Zimbardo and told him about this. And you know the second Dee returns, Naomi's gonna tell him, and he would make Greg and Jennifer's lives hell. And I am truly living for that thought. I'm so thankful that Naomi has such a wonderful, supportive group of friends who will have her back through the trauma of this. I know she'll be okay, but I'm pretty gutted that we won't get to see the fallout. As usual, if you'd like to discuss the show, please leave a comment. I miss it already, and I'd love to continue talking about it. Hopefully if you stuck around till the end of this and you enjoyed listening to my thoughts, maybe you'll be interested in checking out my other videos. But no hard feelings if that isn't the case. Thank you for listening to my ramblings, especially if you're coming back from one of my previous Naomi videos. I really enjoyed the ride that was this show, and I hope you guys did too. Bye!